Hey, what is up, YouTube? Eric Bauer, this guy right here, all smiles, back again with another video. I don't remember how long it's been since my last video. I know I promise more frequent content than what I provide. I got a life to live, I got shit to do. And I want to have a good time while I'm doing this, so you get what you get. And I appreciate all of you who come by to check my shit out, because the idea that I have anything important to say about anything that I'm showing here is, I mean, frankly, it's there's way more important shit you should be indulging in, you should be experiencing, that you should be partaking in, like actual art instead of somebody just talking about it. But that's what I'm here for. And that's apparently why y'all keep coming back. I appreciate it. I don't want to sound like I don't, because I do. And I'd appreciate it if y'all would go sub up a couple YouTubers that I've been watching. Yorpshard to start. Got a great fucking channel so far. Handful of videos already. Dude has got quite a collection. I'm sure it puts a lot of ours to shame. And I look forward to seeing more of it. Another one, Stevie's Vinyl. He's over in the UK somewhere, British Isles, Scotland. I want to say Scotland, but I'm not 100% on that. But I'm sorry, Stevie. I don't want to misrepresent people here, but he's got a great channel also. Cool energy, shows some cool shit. Yeah, and Cliff, the Vinyl Cheapskate. He's been putting up some pretty great content. And I talk about a bunch of other channels already. I just want to plug a few to start that I think are worthy of mention. Who, I'd like to see get more subs. That's just the truth of it. What am I talking about tonight? Today, whenever this video gets uploaded, what am I here to discuss? I don't know. I had some topics, but really, I haven't done like a collection update in, I don't even know how long. And so this is just going to be exactly that, a collection update. Now, the caveat here is that everything I'm going to show, I picked up locally. Brick and mortar, man, brick and mortar. I happen to be lucky enough to live in an area where we have some quality fucking record stores. So, this is not probably going to be true for Jack or Jill who live out in freaking, the icy plains of Manitoba. I don't think your Goodwill's going to have most of this stuff. Just putting that out there. It's kind of a flex. Anyway, it's kind of a variation. Got some 45s. I even got a 10-inch I want to talk about, and some LPs. Let's get right into it. First thing we're going to look at today is something that has been on my want list for a very long time. It's something I had back in the day, and when I purged my collection back in 2001, it's one of the records that I ended up going without, and that would be Condensed Flesh by Void. Void, of course, out of Washington, D.C. This is on I-95 Records. It's a 1992 press of material that was recorded in 1981. Void are just a classic hardcore band, classic DC hardcore band. They deviated a little bit from what your standard DC bands were doing at the time, with Minor Threat, or the Teen Idols. They're kind of more along the lines of like a band like The Faith, which is probably why Void did a split with The Faith. Probably the best known Void material is off of that Faith split. Came with a very nice little flyer for I-95 merch and products. Cool to have that. Nothing on the inside of the sleeve. It's just white. However, it did come on a pretty slick, translucent green vinyl with some tight labels. Dig that shit. This color variant, not very frequent that you would see that in 1992. And it came on several different color variants for the however many presses came out of this particular release back in 92 by I-95. This material is great. It's probably my favorite Void shit. I love the Split with Faith, but this stuff is just, it's I don't know. To me, it sounds a lot more raw, a lot more bombastic almost, unhinged, I guess would be maybe a good way to describe it compared to the Split LP. But yeah, Void, for anybody with any interest in hardcore, US hardcore specifically, Void are mandatory. It's essential fucking shit right there. Next item. This was, oh man, finding this in the wild. Woo-hoo! What a day. I did a little jig at the store. Look at that. Look at that beauty right there. What is that, you might be asking? I don't read kanji. I don't either. Good thing it's on the back. It's the Stalin. They're no fun 45. This fucking 7-inch 45 on Climax Records, 1982. Same year as Stop Jap. You got Stalin on the A side and No Fun on the B side. And No Fun, of course, you know, it's a cover. Everybody knows No Fun. I don't know a single punker worth their salt that doesn't know No Fun. And if you don't know No Fun, check it out. Is this essential Stalin material? That's debatable. I know a lot of people whose falling off with Stalin happens after Stop Jap, and they just don't bother with the rest of the discography. I think Mushi is fucking great. That follow-up to Stop Jap, phenomenal. I love all the tracks on that. I would say it's almost as great of an album as Stop Jap. Not quite, but it's there. This is it's nice to have. It's a short listen, being 2 tracks, 45 RPM. I think a minute and a half, 2-minute long songs. But very nice to add this to the collection. I am a Stalin stan, so anytime I see anything Stalin related, I'm picking it up for sure, without hesitation. Next one we're going to look at is a reissue of. No, wait. This is not a reissue. There's been a reissue of this. This is it's a reissue in that it's old material that was put together for this comp. I don't know, maybe 10 years back. There's a MySpace address on this. At any rate, it's not common that you find this variant of this material. Anywhere really. And that's the Fourth Reich Spanish hardcore. This is a double 7-inch. So you get, your 2 7-inch LPs, EPs, not LPs. Come on, Eric. You get a very nice fold out. I've talked about some Spanish hardcore on this channel before. MG 15. Is that right? I'm brain farting. I just got off work, so my brain's all like scrambled a little bit. MG 15. Great Spanish hardcore. D-beat. This is not really D-beat. This is just, I don't know what I would compare this to. It's kind of unique. It kind of stands on its own. Now this material is, like I said, it's old. I don't know. I can't read most of this. It's all in Spanish, but the material on this came from a couple EPs or demos from the early 80s and was reissued because I don't think it came on anything other than like home recorded tapes that were distributed by the band to friends. Really fucking crucial, very high energy, politically driven, left leaning, Spanish hardcore. I like the best of it. I'd throw this up there with like Indigesti from Italy, or fucking Fader War from Norway. It's really great. Really, really fucking great. Seeing that at the store, I was stoked because I'd never actually seen a copy of it, face to face, only on the internet and comp tapes made back in the day. Another Spanish collection of material. This one is a fucking banger, yo. Antidogmatics. Ooh, that cover's hard to read, right? It's cool though. That fucking gold spot gloss that covers the entire jacket. And you got the band name there, Antidogmatics. Antidogmatics were another Spanish band. Now this is a compilation of material that's comes from two of their demos, both of which were from the 80s. And it was put together and released by Lengua Armada, which is Martin from Los Crudos, Limp Wrist, and he's in a new band that Pat Wilding over at Ground Zero Salem just talked about, Canal Irial, if I'm not mistaken. He's got a little write-up in here about how he fell in love with I don't want to say the Antidogmatics because it's not it's just Antidogmatics. And basically the story of where these tracks come from. It's not everything off of the two demos from which it is sourced. It's basically just the highlights. So it's like a best of on 45. I can dig that. Fucking dropped it, man. I try to be profesh. Minus the cursing. Antidogmatics. Just killer. Everything I said about that Fourth Reich compilation that we just looked at, I would say the same for Antidogmatics. This stuff is just crucial, pounding, savage, 80s hardcore out of Spain. Some of the best that you're going to hear. Fucking phenomenal material, really. And again, another fucking local find. See, would you be shocked if I told you that I did not get all of these from the same place? Fucking spoiled, let me tell you. The 10-inch. Probably just saw that. Was trying to hide it, be sneaky. I've been looking for a copy of this to fill the gap that was left when I lost it, back with the rest of the bulk of the collection. And it's just not one you ever really run across in the wild, and prices on the internet for it, at least historically, have been on the absurdly high end for what it is. I'm talking about Charles Bronson with their Youth Attack 10-inch, of course the brainchild of Mark McCoy, who now runs Youth Attack Records. I find it funny that Youth Attack started as a title to this EP of amazing US power violence, and is now primarily focused on releasing, I don't know, like weird black metal. And when I say weird black, I just find it weird that he's putting out black metal on the Youth Attack label. It started off as a hardcore label back in the day, kind of on par with like 625 Thrashcore, and those type of labels, Slap a Ham. Anyway, rant aside, he also put out the City Hunter albums, and I got no complaints about that because that shit is tight. At any rate, this is Charles Bronson. Power Violence, legendary band. If you haven't heard of Charles Bronson and you're into power violence or grind or hardcore or fastcore, this shit is just as crucial as everything else I've already talked about. And I mean, just look at handsome Chuck there. Oh my goodness. Ladies love mustaches. This album rules. The song titles are goofy. I don't know. I feel like the song titles are a little dated. Just like kind of like the tone. But that aside, it's a perfect album. You've got tracks like Speaking of void, I just can't avoid the void in a void. It's clever, Mark. What's another good one? The only time I think about romance is when I wonder why I don't think about it. Deep Thoughts. What's that? What was that segment on like Saturday Night Live? Deep Thoughts with like Jack Handy, Phil Hartman, R.I.P. Cool photo of the band. Rest in peace, September 94 to August 97, because that's how long Charles Bronson were a band. And you've got a warning on here from Coalition Records. Warning, material intended for youth. This masterpiece not for sale to anyone old, and under no circumstances are they to view it, possess it, or form a circle pit to the onslaught contained herein. Jeez, you're fucking edgy, man. Super edgy power violence, but it's great. Again, if you're a power violence fan, Charles Bronson, kind of mandatory, kind of essential. Yeah, that's that. So we're gonna get onto the LPs. Got a bunch. Let's see how fast. Oh, I kicked the camera. See, I say I try to be profesh, and then I kick the fucking camera. I'm terrible. Holier than thou? You can't have slaughter without laughter. Another very clever title. But look at that artwork. Artwork is actually done by the same gentleman that did the classic artwork to my favorite Gloom record. Japanese hardcore, Japanese artist. Holier than thou were not Japanese. They were from Southern California. And they fucking sound like they are from Southern California. What is this, you might ask? Well, it's crossover, modern crossover. This came out in, see if I can find that information for you. I didn't write any of this down. Kind of just winging it today. Holier than thou. And one of these guys recently passed away. I believe this guy right here. He was also in Annihilation Time, another really fucking great band. And both bands have a lot in their discography. Well, not a lot, but, you know, a fair amount. This is not the only thing Holier Than Thou released. It is probably my favorite. Record just shreds, man. It's like, imagine the Nardcore played by bands like fucking Ill Repute or fucking the Stalag 17 or is it Stalag 13 or fucking Dr. No before they went metal. Not that the metal Dr. No is bad. Take that hardcore Nardcore sound from Oxnard. For people, what's Nardcore? What a dumb name for a genre. It's hardcore from Oxnard, California. Nardcore. Get over it. It's a fun word. That's what it sounds like, but gone like thrashy. Vocals on this are super unhinged. Almost black metal. They just have this like shriek. It's like almost a blackish sort of death thrash type of shriek. Almost inhuman. I would just tear the fuck out of my throat if I attempted to reproduce the tones the vocalist gets on this album. And it's just a ripper from start to finish. It's not a long listen. It's fucking great though, man. Just killer SoCal crossover. I forget when this came out. Let's see if I can figure that out myself. No, but I'd say sometime after 2001. So when I say modern, I don't mean like made yesterday. But you know, I still consider 2001 onward to be sort of contemporary. I don't know. Putting that out there. It's a great record, and you know, is it essential? Nah, probably not. But if you like that kind of music, you can't go wrong. Next record we're going to talk about is one that I don't think, I would be surprised if any of you have heard anybody talk about, seen, or heard yourselves. Minus, you know, the old heads. This I came across and it was cheap, and I like their EP that came before this. It's more Euro hardcore in that Indigesti vein. This does not sound like that EP. It's a total maturation. Is it maturation or maturation? I don't know. But it's an evolution of their sound. Is it better? I don't know. I'm talking about these guys. Svobodny Slovo with Yaroyanj Veku. Yaroyani Veku. That's not a J, that was an I. This release put out by Mallory Records out of the Czech Republic. That's where this band's from, the Czech Republic. I forgot to mention that. From, oh God. I knew it when I looked at it yesterday, and I forgot. And it doesn't say on the back. That's fine. They took the cheap route, and they glued the CD cover on there and the tray card from the back on there on just a white thing. It did come with a pretty sick insert that is all in Czech, so I can't read it. That's fine. And it came out in 1994, and I'm going to tell you, it does not sound like the previous EP. I've already stated that. I'm going to keep saying that. It came from this weird era in Euro hardcore when bands were really trying to be experimental. Look at it. The sleeve is made from the inside of a different LP sleeve. They just turned them inside out. Saving those dollars. Czech Republic. So there was a time in Euro hardcore when bands started kind of experimenting with a lot of the sounds that, like, your legacy thrash bands were kind of doing in the early 90s. And when I say legacy thrash bands, I mean like fucking, rather than the good thrash bands, these guys for some reason were listening to a lot of like Wrathchild America or what's that other band? Mind Funk. So there's questionable like slap bass on here, or Seinfeld bass, if you will. A lot of like attempts at like incorporating tribal rhythms, and it's to somebody who didn't come up in that era, who was not buying everything Skull Records was putting out at the time. I could see it being off-putting and like, huh? What the fuck? There was a handful of bands that were doing shit like this, like fucking Anarchrust, I think we're out of Holland, or fucking Acid Rain Dance out of Germany. It's good. It's like a time capsule. Some of the tracks rage, and some of the tracks don't rage quite so hard. But overall, it's a good record. It's a good find. Uncommon. Speaking of uncommon, this is my grail going into 2021. I didn't think I'd find it. Not because it's expensive when you find it, but because it's generally never in the United States. And you have to resort to the internet to buy it from somewhere in like China or Japan. Or, not that buying from Japan is a hassle. It's actually one of the easiest countries to get records from, in my experience as a record buyer. Or some of the more expensive countries in Germany. I'm talking about the LP from 1994, Necropolis by Destroy, out of Minneapolis. This fucking record is so good. Like I said, this was my grail for the year going into this year. I couldn't find it, and I was talking to a buddy of mine who's local, and he's like, dude, I have the CD, And honestly, I never spin the vinyl. If you want it, it's yours. So he brought it over the next time we kicked it, and fucking now I have it. He just has the CD, sucker. Anyway, what is Destroy? They were a grind band, a crust band, a death metal band out of the Minneapolis area. That was like the place to be for fucking crust punk back in the early to mid to just past the mid 90s. Bands like fucking Ass Rash and Code 13, who actually came out of Destroy. This album is fucking a banger. It's so good. Not their best material. My favorite Destroy will probably always be the EP they did for Relapse Records, which preceded their Burn This Racist System Down EP, which was put out by Profane Existence after they got screwed over by the dudes at Relapse Records. And yeah, this is the album that followed Burn This Racist System Down. And it is, it's more tightly written. The playing is, it's still got that sloppy sort of doom, hearkening back to doom and extreme noise terror. But it's tighter. You can tell as a unit that they've gelled and they've learned how to play together. So you're missing that sloppiness from like the Disrupt split and the Relapse EP. It sounds almost exactly like the material on Burn This Racist System Down. They did another split after this album with, was it Extinction of Mankind? I don't remember. Somebody liked, or was it a band that started with shit? I don't recall. It's good. This is that's the backside. This is killer though, and I'm super glad to have this again in the collection. We're getting on to some heavies here. This is gonna go a little long. We're almost at a half-hour mark. I just found this the other day at my favorite shop, talking about Machetezo with their debut LP. I can't read that, not because I can't read Spanish, but the font is fucking with my eyes. Carne de Cementerio. Carne de Cementerio. It's like meat of the cemetery. Cemetery meat. Gatefold LP on Throne Records. Machetezo. Death grind band out of Spain. And man, for a debut, this shit just fucking dumps, as they say. It is a banger from start to finish. There's nothing bad on this record. It's a perfect death grind album. I would put it up with The First Brutal Truth, put it up with Napalm Death's Utopia Banished. It's that good. Fucking killer. And it's not easy to find. I've got a couple other things by Machetezo. This has been on my list for a while. So finding this in the wild, especially when it's in like a grind mood, serendipitous to say the least. This shit rules. Check it out. Just fucking great. Next album we're gonna look at, another fucking great one. So now I'm flexing here, real flexing. Satanic Malfunctions, Hellbound. This album is, see that cover? That cover is what this record sounds like. That too. Not Hellbound. Satanic Malfunctions were a band that came out of the band from the UK called SAS. Back in the 80s, SAS broke up. Like half the band went on to form Satanic Malfunctions. The other half became Active Minds. And with their powers combined, they were good UK punk. Fucking Butterfingers today, man. Just ridiculous. Let's get back in position. Insert. You got a anti-skateboarding sign there. And then, you got two of the dudes there. Lyrics. They're like mascots and logo. What does this band sound like? It's it's I don't know. It's hard to describe. They don't sound like Active Minds, that's for sure. And they also don't sound like SAS. It is very reminiscent of some of the better Sore Throat out there. I would say it has things in common with Scum by Napalm Death, although not quite as filthy. I would say it has a lot in common with early ENT and Doom. Vocally, it's very strange. It's almost like spoken word shit. So no growling, no screaming, no dual barked vocals. You can understand every word out of this guy's mouth. So because he's like speaking, the cadence is super weird, and it gives the music this overall like very strange effect, where like it's almost two different tempos at the same time. It's really good. I love this fucking record. Just killer. Super stoked to find that. At the same time, I found this beast right here. Disabuse. Their fucking Sorrow and Perdition EP. 6 songs on a 12-inch. Disabuse, I believe, were from Holland? Is that right? Yeah, I think it was recorded in Holland, so I'm assuming they're from Holland. Mixed in 89, so this material was put out in 89. Reissued not too long ago on CD by The Crypt, I believe. Insert credits, thanks, etc. Photos and lyrics. Again, what is Disabuse? It's crossover. Really fucking good. Just feral, off the chains, fucking crossover, man. Again, utilizing that shriek, that almost black metal shriek, or death thrash, but retaining that like crossover tone and vibe. I mean, if you kind of want to know what they sound like, let's just do a quick read through here. Greetings to the following bands. Let's skip through those. Accused, SNFU, Ludichrist, GBH, Sanitary Towel, Disgrace from Finland, Chronic Disease, Union Morbide, Pestilence, Mandator, Thanatos, Negazione, Holy Moses, Creator, Death Angel, Inferno, fucking Bob Wire, Ear Damage, MDC. It's such a weird mixed bag of different bands. New Root, Suicidal Tendencies, Agathocles, Distress, Fatal Error, Brain Impulsion. Take an amalgamation of all of those different bands, put them into one melting pot, and you get this Disabuse record. It's fucking killer. Just great. Fucking private press release, I believe, on Studio Clank. Studio Clank with a K. Fucking rad. Just rad. This is going long. Might hit the 40-minute mark. If you can stick through this whole video, props to you. Props to you. Here's another one. We're getting to the end. I only got 2 more after this. After the Bombs with their Relentless Onslaught EP. 5 tracks of pure, unadulterated sacrilege UK worship. Early Bull Thrower, In Balor Is No Law era. Fucking Rise of the Serpent Men, but more driving and savage. Hell Crusher. That sound, the sound that a lot of the Japanese were just super in love with back in the 90s. This is a Canadian band, if I'm not mistaken. put out by the Total End Records, Montreal, Quebec. So I believe I'm correct. This album rules. It fucking just rages. It reminds me a lot of Death Evocation, who were a Boston band. I actually mistakenly thought that members of Death Evocation were shared with After the Bombs, but I was incorrect because geographically it would have been impossible. But if you're familiar with Death Evocation, that's another good thing to kind of compare this to. It's not original in the least, but it is absolutely killer. Just, like I said, crucial crust in the vein of Sacrilege UK. I can't recommend this enough, but if you find it, it'll probably be expensive. Now, around my birthday, I got some grails. And the first one we'll talk about, Savage Grace. The fucking Master of Disguise. This album. Back when I did my giveaway, show an album with a cop on the cover, I believe somebody did pull this for that contest. If I'd had this then, I would have pulled it also. I had the tape that Headsplit recently reissued. This is an OG. Not common in the least. There's no insert. Real bare bones. Private press labels. Although it was released through Important, that's just basically who marketed it and distributed the album. What is Savage Grace Master of Disguise? Only one of the best US speed / power metal albums of all time. I would put it up there with, in terms of US power metal, the first Jag Panzer, Liege Lord, Master Control, just real tough, burly, ignorant, knuckle-dragging US metal at its best. This album it's sleazy, it's fucking real ignorant, but it's so good, so goddamn good. That's kind of a birthday present. Came from, again, my favorite shop. I'm gonna stop naming my favorite shop in these videos because if you're local, I don't want you hitting my honey hole, as they say. Now, this album, I wrote down the name of the band because I can't read kanji. It's Japanese. It's funny, Cliff, the Vinyl Cheapskate, just recently did a video on records to look for if you're trying to get into Japanese hardcore. And he kind of went like the cheap route, the stuff that's like kind of common, easy to find for the most part, at least through the internet, and not expensive. This is not an item that would have ever fallen on that list, probably. This is the band, we're going to try with the pronunciation, Kaibo Shiitsu. And their album, Yokoshima. If that looks like Crow artwork to you Japanese hardcore fanatics, it's because Crow from Crow is in this band, among others who come from a bevy of really excellent Japanese hardcore legacy bands. The only one I can think of off the top of my head, though, is Crow. Came out a very nice red vinyl. Was out in 2010 on HG Fact. This album is so good. It is basically just a straight up homage to the second album from the Stalin, Mushi, which I've already talked about today. And it's, if you're familiar with that era of the Stalin, that's basically exactly what you get with this record. Just with modern production value, not that early 80s, echo chamber recording quality that a lot of those Japanese bands were putting out back in the day. Although Stop Jap and Mushi sound fucking excellent, even the OGs. Yeah, this album is real hard to find, real hard to come by, real fucking good, real bouncy. I don't want to say pogo punk because it's not. I would never consider the Stalin pogo punk. It's hardcore for sure, but it's not like crusty, and it's not burning spirits. It's definitely Japanese. You can just tell from how it sounds. Even if there weren't vocals, you could tell it was Japanese. If you have an ear for that sort of thing, just fucking killer, Killer shit. The last record. And again, another grail. I hit the fucking tripod again. Ah! Woosah. This is another birthday present, basically. Got a gift card, again, from my favorite shop. And they had this on the wall. I had to fucking snag it, man, because you don't see these ever out here. I've talked about it before. It was reissued by Grey Haze. Talking about the Mist. Fucking Phantasmagoria. Just take in that cover art. Now, if you recognize that cover art, it's because it is a ripoff of an already well-established painting by a certain Mark Whalen for the band Obituary. They just copped it, and somebody they knew repainted it. So this is not the same painting, because look at that airbrushing. This is definitely not on the level of a Mark Whalen painting. But that's one of the things I love about this thing. It's so good. Now, The Mist, one of my favorite Brazilian thrash records of all time. Sounds a little bit like Chakal's first album, but that's probably because of the presence of Vladimir Korg, who is this guy in the middle, right there. He played on that first Chakal as well, and was then replaced. I believe he went on to be in Mutilator for their second full length on the mighty Cogumelo Records. Finding a Cogumelo record in the wild is like, it's like finding a unicorn. This happened to me twice. And this is the second time. This is, you know, the cover, it's a little beat. Vinyl's pristine, and it even came with the fucking poster, which is really rare for these old Cogumelo releases. Get the dudes hanging out outside some random building or wall or stucco or I don't know. You got like, you know, credits. That was probably upside down. Yeah, that was upside down. Credits, track list, and, you know, your fucking lyrics and shit. Killer. Just killer thrash. It's not like black metal at all. Unlike, you know, kind of Chakal, that first Chakal record had a lot of like influences from like Bestial Devastation, Sepultura, Morbid Visions, Sodoms, fucking In the Sign of Evil, and Obsessed by Cruelty, Destructions, first like demo Bestial Devastation, and fucking you know, that Teutonic, early Teutonic sound creators, fucking early shit, Endless Pain. That's kind of like what I kind of liken Chakal to. But The Mist is just a straight up fucking thrash band. They kind of play with like spacier themes. They're not all satanic and evil. I mean, it's fine if they were. I'd have no problem with that. But it's just killer. It's a killer thrash record. And again, it's another one. When I saw this in the store, I did a little dance. I said, "Can I see that on the wall?" And they said, "Sure." And they took it down, and they put it in my hands, and I looked at it, and I didn't even take out the vinyl, because I go there so frequently. I just trust the guy to price shit correctly. I was like, "Here's my gift card. It's for my birthday." He's like, "Hey, happy birthday, man." Took my gift card, debited the amount that this cost, which I'm not going to disclose here. Because, yeah, this is a video about flexing, but I'm not going to flex that hard. Yeah, now it's mine. Forever and ever. And that's it. That's all I've got. So, I hope you dug it. I hope you stuck with it. 45 minutes. It's kind of a long comeback, but I wanted to talk about a bunch of shit. So, I hope you stick with the duration of this video. There's a lot of cool shit to see. If you skipped ahead, cool. If you just stopped at the 15-minute mark, that sucks because you missed some of the best shit. Anyway, subscribe to Yorp Shard, subscribe to Cliff the Violent Cheapskate, subscribe to Stevie's Vinyl, and all the usual suspects. In the meantime, I'm out till next time, and y'all need to keep it real. Be cool. And just, you know, like I say every video, don't be shitty. Don't be shitty. It's not hard. Anyway, peace out.